Rich man's arrogant son kicked the maid's bucket, then froze when he learned who she really was. The polished marble floor of the Sterling penthouse gleamed under the chandeliers, reflecting the cold opulence that was Julian Sterling's birthright. At 23, Julian moved through life like a spoiled prince surveying his kingdom, bored, entitled, and utterly convinced of his own superiority. His father, Marcus Sterling, ruled a global empire built on ruthless deals and colder steel. Julian inherited the arrogance, but none of the discipline. That afternoon, he'd been arguing with his father over another failed investment, another hobby Julian had treated like a toy. Frustration, sharp and sour, coiled in his gut. As he stormed down the hallway towards the terrace, he saw her, Ilara, the quiet new maid, meticulously mopping near the grand staircase. Her simple blue uniform, her head bent in concentration, her worn bucket of soapy water, all of it screamed inconvenience. "Move it, would you?" Julian snapped, his voice laced with contempt. She flinched, but didn't look up, silently stepping aside. But it wasn't enough. The sight of her humble presence, the audacity of her existing in his space while he fumed, ignited a petty spark. With a contemptuous flick of his designer loafer, he kicked the bucket. Water and suds exploded across the pristine marble, soaking Ilara's shoes and the hem of her uniform. The mop clattered to the floor. Julian didn't even break stride. "Clean it up properly this time," he tossed over his shoulder, a smirk playing on his lips. Just another servant, just another thing to be dismissed. Power felt good. Easy. He didn't see the way Lara's knuckles whitened on the mop handle. He didn't see the storm of humiliation and fury in her eyes, quickly masked by practiced calm. He certainly didn't see her pull out a small, discreet phone and send a single terse message before resuming her work, her movements precise, her expression unreadable. The fallout began subtly. First, his father's private jet, grounded for unexpected maintenance. Then his favorite luxury car dealership, mysteriously out of stock of the limited edition model he'd demanded. His exclusive club membership, under review. Julian scoffed, blaming incompetence, but the unease grew. Then came the board meeting. Julian, summoned to observe, a rare concession from his father, strutted in, expecting to bask in the glow of Sterling Industries' might. Instead, he found his father pale, sweating, facing a room full of stone-faced executives. The air crackled with tension. "Marcus," the lead director, a man Julian barely knew, said gravely, "the consortium has withdrawn its backing. All projects are frozen, effective immediately." Julian's blood ran cold. What? Why? Who are you people? The director turned, his gaze sharp. "We represent the interests of Ms. Ilara Vance." The name hit Julian like a physical blow. Ilara? The maid? Impossible. Before he could process it, his father's phone rang. Marcus answered, his face draining of all remaining color. He listened, nodded mutely, then hung up, his shoulders slumping as if the weight of the world had crashed onto them. He looked at Julian, not with anger, but with utter devastation. "It's over, Julian. Everything. The banks. They've called in every line of credit. The Sterling name. It's finished." Julian stumbled back, disbelief warring with dawning horror. Ilara Vance? That's just the maid's name. What does she have to do with... Ilara Vance, Marcus whispered, his voice raw, isn't a maid. She's Eleanor Vance, my sister. The room tilted. Julian's arrogant world built on sand began to crumble. Eleanor Vance. The name echoed in the dusty corners of family lore. The brilliant, idealistic daughter who'd walked away from the Sterling fortune decades ago, disgusted with her brother's cutthroat tactics, choosing a life of quiet integrity over gilded cages. She had vanished, presumed lost to the family. Until now. She came back, Marcus continued, his voice breaking. Not for money, not for power. She came back to see what kind of man my son had become. He looked at Julian, his eyes filled with a shame that mirrored Julian's own rising panic. She saw cruelty. She saw entitlement. She saw the exact same poison that drove her away. And she used the one thing I never thought she'd touch. The vast, hidden network of ethical investors and principled allies she'd cultivated over 40 years. The very people who hate everything Sterling Industries stands for. To dismantle it, piece by piece. Julian felt sick. The bucket, the water, the casual, thoughtless cruelty. It hadn't just been a servant he'd humiliated. It had been his aunt. The one person whose quiet strength and moral compass his father had secretly admired, even as he dismissed her choices. And Julian had kicked her bucket. He found her not in the servants' quarters, but in the sun-drenched library, calmly reading. She looked up as he entered, her expression serene, but her eyes held the depth of oceans and the sharpness of ice. Aunt Eleanor. Julian choked out, the title feeling alien and heavy on his tongue. I didn't know. Didn't know what, Julian? That I was family? Or that a human being, regardless of their station, deserves basic respect? She closed her book. You kicked over a bucket of water. A small thing, perhaps, but it revealed the ocean of contempt within you. You saw a uniform, not a person. You saw an obstacle, not your kin. Tears, hot and shameful, pricked Julian's eyes. The penthouse, once his fortress of privilege, felt like a cage of his own making. I'm sorry, he whispered, the words feeling utterly inadequate. I'll do anything. Eleanor studied him, her gaze piercing. Actions speak louder than apologies, Julian. The Sterling Empire is gone. Your father is broken. What will you build from the ashes? Will it be more of the same? Or will you finally learn to see the people around you? She stood, walking past him towards the door. At the threshold she paused. The bucket is still in the hall. Perhaps you should clean it up yourself. It's a start. Julian stood alone in the silent, opulent ruin of his life. The arrogant son was gone, shattered by a bucket of soapy water and the quiet, devastating power of a woman he'd mistaken for nobody. The real work, the work of becoming someone worthy of the name, of earning back even a sliver of respect, had only just begun. And it started on his knees, with a mop and a bucket, finally seeing the world clearly for the first time. If you believe in kindness and second chance, please like, share, and subscribe to ACA Storytells for more emotional stories. Your support helps us spread hope to millions. Thanks for watching.